Now I think we're cooking with fire. There we go. Well, let me just finish getting my screen set up here for this evening's broadcast from the District of North Van. The purpose of the exercise and what I'm trying to do tonight is just maybe add a little bit of color commentary to council meetings and get people more interested. I'm actually going to start streaming these on a different channel. I've created another channel called The Ground Truth. So we're just working on dialing that in. Should be good to go for next week's stream, anyways, for council meetings. And my hope is to stream as many council meetings as humanly possible this year to hopefully get a little bit more people interested in paying attention to what's going on in their local council meetings. Because I think a lot of people just don't appreciate and realize how important this stuff is. These guys have the most control over our lives, like full stop, end of conversation, right? So I think it's important to make sure that we all, listen, get involved, and yeah, just be a part of democracy, right? Boy, the love of everything holy. Why does it have to be so difficult? All right, waiting to be let in now. I'm just going to stop streaming my screen for a second here. I'm still here, still talking. I'm not going anywhere. Just going to shut things down visually for a quick moment here. Stand by while I figure out what's going on these screens here. What in the hell is going on? Why is it being so difficult to join tonight? Maybe we're cooking with fire now. I don't know. Something was wrong with the link or with me. Probably with me, let's be honest. All right, I think we're cooking with fire now. Fingers crossed. See what happens. So, on the agenda for this evening, make sure I don't screw anything up here. I don't think I screwed anything up. I think we're in good shape. So, if we look at the agenda for this evening, we can see here that holy smokes, Eric, how many freaking tabs do you have open, buddy? Wow. Get your stuff together, Jensen. Good night. All right, so if I do that real quick and skip over top of the... Oh, but I'm not even sharing that right now. So how about that? I'm almost organized. Okay. You know, before the end of the year, I might actually be like reasonably decent at doing this stuff, which would be really neat. All right, so on the agenda tonight, oh, I'm going to share whatever sound is coming through from the district for you right now. But here's the agenda for this evening. So this is regular stuff that's in here, regular public input. I don't know that I'm going to speak tonight. I don't think there's really anything here that I'm like insanely passionate about. We'll see what the other speakers have to say, and I might choose to chime in depending on what other speakers are talking about and saying. But we've got a inappropriate, offensive, misleading, harassing, or threatening correspondence to council to members of council or staff. I hate to imagine what that's about, but my guess is that you have a fairly frustrated electorate that are probably not feeling heard and not feeling like the things that are important to them are being dealt with, which is why people are getting abusive. But does that justify that kind of behavior? Hells no. No. We Oop, hear murmurings. All right, here we go. So that does not seem to be pulling the audio through here. One sec.
List from ahead of time. We typically get through about 10 speakers before that time if we're going full time, and then we'll move on with the meeting at that point. We do have 5 speakers who have signed up ahead of time for 2 agenda items. And so I'm going to go to Margaret Sage to start us off. Come on up. I'm going to make you sit in the front table here. And we do have, yeah, please.
Sorry, new to me.
Yeah. So I should say our meeting is being held in a hybrid format. That means we have members of the public, members of staff participating virtually or in person. Tonight you have all members of the council here present. So you have 7 members of council participating. Welcome. When you are comfortable, you have 3 minutes to address the council.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your opportunity to speak today. And my name is Marg Lesage, and I own Dog Zen, a commercial dog walking company in North Vancouver. First, I want to sincerely thank the district for launching that People, Dog and Park Strategy survey. Taking the time to ask for public input matters, and it shows a willingness to listen to the people who use these parks and trail systems every day. I want to speak specifically about the importance of commercial dog walking in North Vancouver. Professional dog walkers provide a valuable service, not only to our clients, but to the broader community. We are trained, insured, accountable, and experienced for managing dog safety in our public spaces and on trails. When this work is properly done, it reduces problem behavior, improves dog welfare, and helps keep parks safer for everyone. However, I feel one of the biggest issues right now is illegal dog walking. At the moment, there appears to be little to no enforcement. Unlicensed dog walkers continue to operate without permits, insurance, or oversight, and this undermines those of us who are following the rules. We need a real way to address this, whether through enforcement, a clearer reporting system, or updated regulations. Doing this is not an option, in my opinion. Online platforms like Rover make this problem worse. A simple Google search for North Vancouver dog walkers returns hundreds of results, many of which are unlicensed. Rover in particular allows people to operate without local permits or accountability, effectively bypassing the system. This hurts legitimate businesses and creates safety risks for the public, dogs, and the environment. It is also important to recognize that commercial dog walkers are not the only users of the trail systems. Hikers, mountain bikers, family, recreational dog owners, and runners all share these spaces. Singling out professional dog walkers without addressing overall trail use does not solve the problem. Another idea worth considering is not allowing businesses based outside the District of North Vancouver, such as those from Vancouver or the broader Lower Mainland, to obtain permits or take on commercial dog walking clients here. This would help protect the local businesses and reduce overuse of already strained trail systems. Trail access is another major concern. While reducing access points, it can help limit public interaction. Removing 2 trailheads without replacing one has had a serious impact, as a group of commercial dog walkers come together to offer solutions, including a detailed set of recommendations and proposals for additional access points located away from the high traffic areas. Finally, the importance of more off-leash trails cannot be overstated. When properly designated
That I can't agree with more. We need way more off-leash trails for dog walking. Way more.
park system. In closing, commercial dog walkers are not the problem. We are part of the solution. With fair enforcement, clear rules, and better trail access, we can work together to create a more safe and balanced park system for everyone.
Thank you very much for your comments.
I totally agree with that.
Danielle O'Neill, joining us here in person.
To be clear, I don't necessarily agree with all of that, but I agree with most of.
Good evening, Mayor Little and the members of council. My name is Danielle and I own and operate Treks for Pets, a licensed commercial dog walking business in North and West Vancouver. I am here today because I have serious concerns about the lead up to the People, Dogs and Parks strategic plan and the way decisions have been made ahead of its release, particularly as they affect the safety of my staff, the viability of my business, and the residents who depend on our service to support responsible dog ownership in an urban environment. Although this plan is being presented as a strategic framework, the impacts on commercial dog walkers are already being felt on the ground. Over the past year, commercial dog walkers have experienced real changes on trail access with very little communication or professional consultation. Access at Braemar East and Braemar Dempsey was removed with limited notice, in one case less than 24 hours, following more than 15 years of permitted and established commercial use. These removals were then followed by direction to use Kilmer Trail as an alternative, an unmaintained trail accessed from a busy roadway. Despite multiple safety concerns being raised since March 2025, no changes have been made to address those concerns, and repeated attempts to engage in further discussions have not been supported. Each time trail access is removed or condensed, it forces more dog walkers into fewer spaces. That increases congestion, raises the risk of incidents, and can actually lead to greater environmental impact than a well-distributed managed access. As acknowledged in the plan, North Vancouver has seen an increase in both people and dogs. Many residents live in condos without private outdoor space and work full-time. And the commonly accepted guidance
Problem is, there's so many jerks out there that don't pick up after their dogs. I mean, that to me is a big part of the problem.
for many households. My
She just
concern with
finished
this
saying dog
plan
walking is
not its
important for
intent,
people.
but the direction it sets. Given the action taken by the district leading up to this plan, there is real concern that the vagueness in the wording signals further loss of trail access and increased restrictions for commercial dog walkers.
That's a good
Rather
concern.
than an approach that adapts to the growing demand created by an increased number of residents and dogs in this community. My ask tonight is that before further changes to trail access, permits, or enforcement frameworks are implemented, commercial dog walkers are meaningfully consulted and treated as partners.
Good luck
Behind
with
this
that.
industry are local small business owners, employees,
Of
and
course
the
there are.
residents who rely on us every day to ensure their dogs
Yep.
are cared for safely and responsibly.
100%.
This business is my livelihood.
Of course
And
it
I
is.
urge you to consider the real human impacts of these decisions as we move forward. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Agreed.
Thank you for your comments, Danielle O'Neill. The next speaker I have is Jane Scott, also joining us here in person.
Tell you what, it's not easy to get up there and speak in front of mayor and council. I don't know why it's so nerve wracking, but it certainly is. I still get a little bit nervous when I do it.
When you're ready, you have 3 minutes to address the council.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening, and thank you to the district staff, particularly the Parks Department, for the extensive work that has gone into the People's Dogs and Parks strategy. It's clear a great deal of time, consultation, and thoughtful planning has gone into balancing the needs of all park users. My name is Jane Scott, and I'm a licensed commercial dog walker operating in the district of North Vancouver. I'm one of 40 companies licensed by the district, the majority of which are small local businesses. I appreciate that this strategy recognizes dogs as an important part of our community and emphasizes education, stewardship, and shared responsibilities. One important context I'd like to highlight is the significant growth in both population and dog ownership over particularly the last 5 years.
Dude, there were so many dogs adopted and bought during COVID. It's crazy. Like, there are so many more dogs here on the North Shore than there, I feel like, ever before. It's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of people, but there's a lot more dogs.
And effective enforcement increasingly important. With that context in mind, I'd like to briefly speak on 2 areas particularly relevant to licensed commercial dog walkers. First, the issue of illegal and unlicensed dog walking. Licensed commercial dog walkers operate under permits, carry insurance, follow group size limits, and comply with bylaws designed to protect parks, wildlife, and other users. When unlicensed operators operate without oversight or accountability, it undermines the system the district has put in place, especially as trail use continues to increase. Continued education and enforcement in this area is essential to maintaining fairness, safety, and environmental protection. Second, I want to emphasize the importance of continued and meaningful collaboration with licensed commercial dog walkers as bylaws affecting our industry are reviewed and revised, and as opportunities to expand, better utilize the existing trail system, to better utilize the existing trail system are explored. As population and dog numbers continue to grow, access to more safe and appropriate trail options becomes increasingly important for everyone. Over the past year, I've met with district staff in person on 2 occasions and have engaged in ongoing communication through emails and phone calls. We have also shared trail use information, on-the-ground observations that we believe can help inform planning decisions. This has created a solid foundation of information and sharing and trust, and it demonstrates that productive collaboration is already underway. As the strategy itself notes, licensed commercial dog walkers will be consulted by bylaw revisions as bylaw revisions are considered. I want to clearly emphasize the importance of following through on that commitment. Ongoing meaningful consultation is critical to ensuring the future bylaw changes and trail planning are informed by real-world experience and practical to enforce and align with the goals and principles outlined in this strategy. Again, thank you, everyone. Sorry, that went over.
Oh, thank you very much for your comments, Jane Scott. The next speaker I have joining us virtually is Adi Cabazo.
Thank you.
Those ladies were all very well spoken. That was really good.
Thank you for the opportunity to share a few brief comments this evening. My name is Adi Cabazo, and I'm here in 2 capacities: as a pet owner from Vancouver and as the operator of Pet Parker Canada. As a pet guardian, my family and I greatly value the district's natural spaces. Our family includes our dog Sophie, and we frequently visit to enjoy the district's beautiful, vast, and well-maintained trail network. These off-leash opportunities are essential not only for local residents, but also for people from neighboring communities who come here specifically to enjoy nature with their dogs. Our visits also contribute to the local economy. We often combine time on the trails with a meal or shopping. I want to raise the issue of off-leash space scarcity at a regional level. This is already a major challenge in neighboring jurisdictions. Metro
Yep.
Vancouver is also considering highly controversial changes to its off-leash trails at Pacific Spirit Regional Park this Wednesday. which further underscores the importance of the decisions made here in the district. In my second role as the head of Pet Parker, the only operating service of its kind in North America, I want to emphasize the need to proactively address the issue of unsupervised dogs in public spaces. This challenge reflects the reality that pet owning households of all forms and income levels need to include their dogs in daily errands, whether picking up groceries or stopping by the public library. From my review, despite being widespread and recurring, this issue is not explicitly addressed in Action 6.8 of the draft plan. Unattended pets on sidewalks undermine accessibility and significantly increase risks to both people and animals, and I urge the district to consider addressing this gap. 2 weeks ago, a dog tied outside the Lynn Valley grocery store got loose and bolted, causing real distress in the community. Situations involving dogs at large can end badly, particularly when smaller pets, children, or seniors are involved, or when vehicle traffic is nearby. Unsupervised animals are also a regular occurrence in parked cars and at popular destinations throughout Deep Cove and at the Lynn Canyon Cafe. These situations place unnecessary strain on residents, businesses, animal services, and first responders. They are preventable through a combination of education, such as signage, appropriate enforcement, and proven practical solutions like the ones offered by Pet Parker, a free, self-service, monitored, and safer alternative to the status quo of leashed dogs on sidewalks or in parked cars. Finally, I would like to commend the district on the draft plan. I've been reviewing similar efforts across Canada, and this plan goes well beyond the bylaw and sets a high bar for others to follow. Thank you for your time and for your continued leadership on this important issue.
Thank you for comments, Adi Cabazo. Okay, next speaker I have joining us virtually is Hazen Colbert. Move Mr. Colbert.
If
over.
anybody watching wants me to say something, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Mr. Colbert, can you hear me?
You can hear them, but we
You are
can't hear
muted
him.
in the system, Mr. Colbert.
Okay, so while we wait for this dude to figure out his audio, as I was saying,
only for myself. I do not speak for any other person nor organization, nor in any way in the context of, nor do I take any position related to truth and reconciliation, land acknowledgements, culture, social services, healthcare and education, residential schools, treaty rights, or ejido, the simple land regimes. I use the word Indian because it is mandated and charged to me to use under the Indian Act. I refer to Section 37. I round the population of the district to 100,000 people. Using a legion of sources, I have determined that the Indian population of the DNV living on a resource is defined under the Act at 5,000 people, or 5% of the total of the DNV. I have rounded the cost of the North Shore wastewater treatment plant to $4 billion, a number which I believe will be exceeded. 5% of
No
$4
doubt.
billion is 200 million, which is the liability of the reserved-based status Indian population of the DNV for the plant. Under Section 87 of the Indian Act, lands are exempt from property tax, but not utility fees. Gas, electricity, and sometimes potable water are exempt from GST and PST because title for those utilities pass on the Indian Reserve. Wastewater services are historically not titled, but if they are now titled due to modern processing at a wastewater treatment plant, the title passes off reserve under what is known broadly as the connecting tests and the guidelines. Thus, GST and PST is applicable. I have asked in writing and on more than one occasion to DNV staff, this council, the chair of Metro Vancouver and the chair of the Metro Vancouver Wastewater Committee how the $200 million liability for that plant is being passed to the reserve Indian population of the DNV, which of course I state under the act. No response from any party has been received by me. The Indian Act bars any exemption for that levy being created under such non-business concepts as truth and reconciliation and other social and political constructs which do not written material response, including particulars for this request. Thank you, Council.
Thank you for your comments, Hazen Colbert. Would anybody else like to address the council this evening? Mr. Lesso, welcome. And then Stephanie.
I mean, if he's factually right, I mean, those are
When you're
some
comfortable,
interesting
you have
points.
3 minutes to address the council.
That's a big if.
Thank
I'm
you, Your
thinking.
Worship.
This guy speaks
Good
quite a bit.
evening, members of council.
He's a good dude.
I trust you have received the enclosed photos and memos that I submitted earlier regarding the closure of the Chevron in Edgemont and the Columbus Market in Edgemont. But just to repeat, the Chevron should not be demolished or converted to anything other than a service station upgrade from a gas bar to a full service station, complete with garage and automotive services like it was before. We do not need another schlock condo development in the heart of Edgemont. The Columbus Market, despite what some of us have been led to believe, is closed and will apparently no longer be selling produce. An
Well, it's
alternative
closed.
to use
So yeah,
an alternative or conditional use to open a liquor store on the site is being considered. More booze, less food for the residents of Edgemont. So I ask you again, is either of these developments in the best interests of the residents of the Edgemont neighborhood? I submit it is not. Can you change or stop either? Will you? That remains to be seen. Now, since they've spoken earlier this evening about the problems in using trails and congestion, I'll just add this. Vancouver has recently been ranked as the most congested city in Canada, more than Toronto, more than Montreal.
really.
Have you considered minor and very inexpensive parking modifications submitted to council last month by myself to help reduce congestion within the bounds of the district? Or will they be ignored?
Well, they'll be
As
ignored,
a 10-year
bud.
resident, I would appreciate the courtesy of an answer at your early convenience. And I raise this because this was raised 3 years ago when I was on the executive of the EUCCA. It seems like you're ignoring this, and I would really like an answer. I'm also going to give you something tonight about girth growth. That's also something that I submitted 3 years ago. It's pretty simple to solve this problem if you want to look at it closely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Lesso, if you have materials to leave behind, the black tray just to your left is
Got it.
will be copied and circulated to council. Okay. Thank you.
Not dissimilar to me. He's a pretty passionate speaker when he gets on here. So there's another speaker coming in. He's a pretty passionate dude though, and he's in front of council frequently.
Panel for your comments. Welcome. When you're comfortable, you have 3 minutes to address the council.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. I am here tonight to talk about supportive housing. or more specifically, my frustration with the slow progress. I attended the 1200 East Keith open house on November 8th, 2023. I was here for 5 nights of public hearings, and I was here on February 5th, 2024, when the application was unanimously approved by council. Now it's February 2nd to 2026, so happy almost 2-year anniversary. But the last update posted to the project's website was on July 12th, 2025. The West 16th Street Supportive Project went to council in the spring of 2021, and the last update on that webpage is July 29th, 2025. The Lillooet Road site went to a public hearing and council approval slightly before 1200 East Keith, and the last update was May 26, 2025. Rezoning for Riverside Drive was adopted in December 2021, and the next public information session doesn't start until next week on February 9th. I understand that housing takes time, but I don't feel that these projects are priorities. To me, the lack of engagement and lack of regular updates is a lack of commitment to projects that have already been approved by council. While these projects languish, the number of people experiencing homelessness has risen sharply since 2021, particularly among people who are homeless for the first time. People are losing housing due to job losses, to injuries and illnesses, to apartment fires, to horrifically long wait lists to access mental health and substance use care. People on fixed incomes cannot get ahead, and they are completely left behind as inflation rises. So people move into RVs and cars, and they're told that they can't be there. They move into tents, and they're told that they can't be there. People are visibly unhoused on the streets, and they're told to move on. So where are they supposed to go? I urge the district to close housing gaps while permanent projects move through development. Temporary transitional housing, such as modular housing, can help get people into stable housing while they wait for a permanent home. More innovative solutions like an RV parking lot give people somewhere to park that doesn't impede on businesses. And projects like Homeward Bound Vancouver Safe Park in Washington
Totally
have
agree with that.
demonstrable successes in building a safer community. Leaving people and projects to languish is not a solution. Housing is a human right, so let's make sure that everyone can have a safe home as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your comments. Okay, would anybody else like to address council? Okay, I believe we've addressed all the people who wanted to speak, so I'm going to move on with the agenda for this evening's meeting. I will call on our delegation from Pemberton Avenue Business.
There wasn't much in this. Can't hear myself think here. There wasn't much of that I really wanted to speak to. I mean, my only thing is that they are talking about spending almost $1 million on a fenced off-leash area and $500,000 on standardized site signage for for dog-related signs to standardize them, which I think is a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Avenue businesses. If you want to introduce yourself, that would help us get started, but you have 5 minutes to make your presentation.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Frankie. I have a business on Pemberton Avenue. I've been in that area for 28 years. And this is my neighbor, business owner as well. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Leah Gillanders. I own Leah's Auto, just off like Lloyd Street, Lloyd and 14th, near the old ICBC Center there, where we're having some issues.
Yeah.
I've been in business for 10 years there, and I try to bring a little bit of, I always try to bring the community together and do events and parties and block parties, and it's community is very important to me.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, our community is being brought together by not so nice things right now. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's been an ongoing issue for about the last 4 years. The amount of illegally parked RVs.
I knew it was going to be. I should have called it out. I knew it.
Radius, there was 89. Some of them are hard up and needed a home. They need a place to be, and they're having a housing problem. But I've noticed, I walk with and I talk to all of them. A lot of them are working at C-SPAN. A lot of them are working at the wastewater plant. Some of them have found a
Interesting.
loophole. One gentleman has an apartment, but his RV is oversized and figured I'll just park there. Once he realized nothing was happening, he's rented out his apartment and is now living on Third Avenue. The issue is obviously parking for a lot of the businesses. Most of them have not moved, but we're still getting tickets.
I mean, there's a metric buttload of these things down and around where these folks have their businesses. I mean, it's a legit concern, a legit. What happens to these poor folks that are, stuck living in their RV? I don't know. But I mean, if people are playing games or whatever else, then I don't know what you do about that. Hear what more they're saying here.
Very unhappy because we're unable to park. Our staff is unable to park. And that is just the parking issue. We also have a safety issue where so many places have been broken into in the last 2 years. Cars have
Well,
been
that's
vandalized.
unacceptable.
There's drug paraphernalia and stuff around my shop. I have a walkway past my shop, and and you can't even walk there. I don't feel safe.
Yeah.
My customers don't feel safe. I'm losing business, and all the businesses.
Yeah,
are
fair
like that.
enough.
There's a few dance studios in that area where they host young girls. Some of the residents of the motorhomes have been caught peering into the windows after hours. It's like 9 o'clock at night. They don't feel safe. We have to wait for police to show up to come escort the girls to their vehicles. A lot of times they're 16-year-old girls. I understand homelessness. I understand struggles. I mean, I'm born and raised in North Van. It's hard. It's hard to be here. I get it. But you can do things properly and still follow rules, still move your RV. If you are in an area and you need to go to work, like move it every few days like the rest of us. It's not fair for us as business owners and people just trying to do our business. I can't even have people park, let alone people feel safe walking past my stores. Really, it's hard. And like, I just didn't expect this in our city.
Yeah.
This is North Vancouver. It's one of the best places in the world. I know everybody wants to be here. I got that. But, I think I forget the name of the last presentator, what she was saying with the RVs and the homelessness, like maybe there is a place for them to go. Maybe we need to open that back up. Maybe there's something like that. I don't know what the solution is, but it's not working right now with what it is.
Yeah, there's also sanitation problem.
Mhm.
When you have
I was
89
wondering about
RVs
this.
in a condensed area,
I was wondering.
I ask you, where do you think they're going to the washroom? Where the tennis court is only open for so many hours. I've had to buy a shovel because I refuse to pick up anything that is attached to toilet paper. It's not a fun experience to pull into your parking spot in the morning and have things left and have your door vandalized. We've had
decent exposure. They're like wake up in the morning and you get to see that right at your front door.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of them, I can take you on a walk door to door. I know them all. A lot of them are working, and those are the ones I don't feel sorry for.
Yeah, come check it out.
So it's now a question and answer opportunity for the council. And I guess my question about that specific issue. So we did track while the Acciona contract had ended before PCL had opened up, and we tracked the number while the wastewater treatment plant wasn't being worked on, and the number went up, not down during that time. And so we draw the conclusion that it's not been specifically driven by the construction of the wastewater treatment plant. Obviously, C-SPAN was in continuous operation during that time. Do you have any recommendations for how you've obviously have been able to determine how many of them are working and living there? Do you have any recommendations for a reasonable way for us to determine that in the process? We have limited tools at our disposal for responding, but if there's a way to identify people who are there out of residential need versus people who are there for a strict.
Yeah.
We can get that number. If you want that, we'll go door to door. We'll go knock and talk to them.
Honestly, some of them you can tell right off the bat. If there's an RV with an expensive motorcycle attached to it, or a Vespa, or a big Dodge Ram, they're not desperate.
Okay.
I mean, I watch Uber Eats being delivered. It's I can easily find out which ones are a little bit more desperate than others.
Does it
My own
matter?
personal story, I lived in a school bus as a child. I am forever grateful that the day my mom, as mentally ill as she was, when we moved to Vancouver, she loved it here. That was over almost 50 years ago. When we landed on the streets of Vancouver, the city of Vancouver knocked on our door at 8 p.m. and said, "You need to move on." Packed up, we moved to Victoria. She loved Victoria even more than here. The sign said 8 to 8. At 8 o'clock at night, knock at the door, City of Victoria said, "You need to move on." I am forever grateful that the city did that because she figured it out. And we went to Vancouver Island and we moved to Denman Island and we found a safe place to live. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is possible and there are options. North Vancouver is not a cheap place to live.
Nope.
And that's why people migrate. And if you can't afford it, sometimes you have to commute. And if they're working at the wastewater plant or C-SPAN and they just don't want to commute because they're from Coquitlam or they're on a contract from Calgary, I'm sorry, you have to commute if
Too
you can't
bad.
afford it. Because if we go anywhere else in any other city, if I go to New York, I'd love to work and live in Manhattan while I'm there, but I'll probably have to commute from Brooklyn. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not attacking the ones that are really need to be there. And I know there's been a big cleanup for the tents, but to me, those were the most desperate. And I hope they've been taken care of, but the other ones have not moved. And I understand that if there's no signs, that means 72 hours, right? These people are not moving. And I don't understand. That's my question is, what is the difference?
Where's the
between them
enforcement?
and us? Because
Honestly.
we're still getting ticketed. My clients are getting ticketed. Her clients are getting ticketed.
For
but
what?
These people are not. And some of them are not very friendly. And they know. And I've talked to them and they're like, "No, do whatever you want." Because they know they've gotten away with it for the last 3 years. And so my question is, what is the difference? As far as parking and as far as cleanup and as far as how many dogs you're allowed to have off leash and indecent exposure, what is the difference? Why are we getting penalized if we do anything like that, but they aren't?
Don't have a good answer for you on the spot, except to say that, the province introduced Bill 45 last year, which was legislation, sorry, at the tail end of 2024. And it was legislation to make it so the municipalities could not evict or move a person off of a public, specifically a park, as an example, unless they were able to provide local shelter options that met the need of the individual. And it put a very high burden on municipalities to be able to respond to those situations. And so we do our best to identify the difference between someone who's in core housing need with mental illness and somebody who is choosing a lifestyle option, and we treat them very differently.
I find that this council hides behind what the province tells them to do and says, well, the province says that that's what we have to do and that's how it has to go. How about if the province tells you to jump off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge? Like the age-old story, the age-old question? Probably not, right? So just ignore the province and do what makes sense.
Met with you both down in your area. And I encourage you to come as a delegation because I was struck just by the issues that you're having to deal with each and every day, in addition to running your businesses. You're extremely compassionate people. Frankie, I'm glad that you told your personal story because I was touched by that when you told me when I was down there. I think the big issue is that you felt like you weren't being heard by the district necessarily. So I think one of the things I'd like to challenge staff is to include this group. I think you've done a great job of connecting with all of the businesses in that area because let's face it, I think that area of our community is experiencing these issues the most.
Oh,
more
it's
than
an
anywhere
issue.
else.
It's an issue.
And
May I press you for a question?
I'm getting to it. Yep. These are not easy things to solve, and we know that. And you heard from the other speakers tonight about housing. I guess, what do you think would make the biggest difference?
Honestly, at the moment, the parking, if they had to move every 72 hours, because even if I still had to live in a bus right now, if I had to move every 72 hours, I may not get as comfortable. And I think that's
Yep.
part of the problem is
Agreed.
it's becoming a hub where there's no rules. There's areas like the ICBC area, the old ICBC area. There's times you couldn't walk through there. And if you did, it was like you're on our property. They had their barbecues, the dogs. You didn't know what you were stepping in. It wasn't safe. So I think as far as parking,
he had his weed plants out, like just pots of weed plants. And just like, I
Yeah.
can have this. It's like, sure you can, but I mean, like, is that really what we want? The kids going to dance class walking past? No.
I think if
Weed's legal now, for the record.
state more than 72 hours, even if it means you move a block, 2 blocks, you got to keep moving. You can't just plop yourself down somewhere and say, okay, now I'm here. Because there's other people that are paying taxes and trying to just get to work. And it's really difficult. It's very, very difficult.
And what neither of these ladies have spoken about is they're paying an egregious amount of property tax towards the DNV coffers, like an egregious amount of property tax. I mean, I don't actually know, but I guarantee it's a lot.
Got to meet some really cool people. 3 of them have moved out and they're going to Burnaby because they no longer want to be part of the district of North Vancouver because of that problem in there. And they're like, well, we're just going to move and just take the bridge over because it's going to be way better for us there. And I've been there for 28 years, but if I was to restart all over, I would not go in that area. I would not open a business in that area right now. And it has, at one point, it felt like it was going to boom. And then it just stopped after COVID.
I think timed parking and just at least getting them to follow those rules is a big solution. Because we did put time parking in down on the lower end of Lloyd, which kind of shuffled them around a bit. And that's fine. And just like we said, there's going to be people in their motorhomes. There's going to be that stuff. But when you're airing out your dirty laundry literally outside, and that
I hope they're airing out their clean laundry.
if you have to move and keep going on, you're not going to have clotheslines and your pot plants outside. So I think maybe more time parking.
Yeah. And I've had to call SPC and animal control on some heartbreaking things because of the abuse. It's no longer a pleasant area.
That's atrocious to hear that they're abusing their dogs or not taking care of them.
Thank you very much for coming tonight. And I think all of us around this table, while we have differing opinions on many issues, I think we all want to try and improve the situation there. And we have taken some steps, but I know there's going to be future conversations about more we can do. So
yeah, if I can just say one more thing, if you wanted to leave a few loopholes here and there for people to park their RVs, I think that would be great, but make it in different areas of the area. If you create a hub, nothing good
for you, and you'll get lots of opportunity to respond. Councillor Mary.
Thank you. Thanks for the delegation. And this is a very challenging issue. We've got another area called Bowser Island just off the highway.
Yeah.
some of
Yeah,
us feel
that's
not
another
heard by
bad
the
one.
province and the challenges that we're facing in the region. The parking on Lloyd that you spoke about, that's working?
It was. They're starting to come back overnight. And because nothing is happening, they're leaving later and later in the day. So I'm gonna guess by summer, it's going to be back to normal.
We need to stay
or
on
what it
it.
was last
Yeah.
summer.
There less enforcement now? Has it did it sort of start and then peak and then peter out? Is that what you're experiencing?
It cleaned up completely, only on the Lloyd area, but that just meant they
Pushes it everywhere else.
into the areas, which caused a problem for the dance studios and for my studio because there was kids. But First Avenue is the same.
So
Third
this is the area
Avenue,
that they're talking about here,
I feel
along
sorry for
Lloyd,
people that work on that
along
because there's no
First,
parking.
Yeah.
And their
out
staff
front of
have to
Walmart,
be escorted to
along
their
Third
car.
here,
Were you aware that C-SPAN at
So,
one time had a parking
along
lot
here,
that
along
accommodated
here.
their staff that were shift workers that were coming in from Seashell or in some cases the island, Mission, Chilliwack?
Is that at the end?
Yeah. at the
Yeah,
end of
I
every- So you remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great.
Yeah.
Did they set up outhouses? Did they have?
Their own facilities within their trailers or their campers, and they were mates that would go out on the tugs. So they had a parking lot because they were coming in from other areas. But then when the new building was built, that parking lot was taken out. And I think that's been part of the challenge. So I think we need to contact C-SPAN. There's many challenges that they've got down there.
I have
for a whole-
contacted C-SPAN about 2 years ago when I began.
Video.
They basically said, that was before they had the parking. They said they will move them and that they were very aware of their staff staying there.
Right. And then we'll also, I think, communicate with Metro Vancouver to determine the number of employees that are coming in, if they are indeed using trailers to house them while they're coming into work on the plant. So I can request that information from Metro. And then, Mr. Cohen, I'm just curious.
Metro and C-SPAN aren't going to give you the honest answer, Lisa. Come on, dude. Like, I mean, they're going to tell you what you want to hear and give you a part of the truth, not the whole truth. Come on.
To address the parking situation as far as hourly, increased hourly and enforced parking as we move further west. Given the city's restricted the eastern side of McKay Creek, but I know that there's trailers behind Capilano Mall, for instance. You can see how
Yeah.
they've moved.
Also behind Planet Fitness.
Yeah.
I'm going
No,
to
I'm just- I
interject a
know.
little bit. So it's for questions and answer from the delegation. If they have response and to share their concerns, if you have a very quick response to that, we'll let that go. But sounds like
through the mayor, we'll be reporting back with our planning colleagues in time with council.
Okay. And just on your the enforcement, have you seen a regular visitation of enforcement in the area?
They were giving a lot of tickets.
Okay,
I
up
think
here.
the enforcement went September 22nd. They had a month leeway in between there. And then there
Interesting.
was a lot of tickets and a lot of them did move around and found different places. But then I personally haven't seen much. I'm not saying they haven't
still
been there.
getting ticketed. I'm still getting ticketed as like for us and and I even told them, I'm like, I don't care. If I messed up, I messed up. If I park longer than I'll pay the ticket. It is what it is. But what I want to know is that those other guys are getting ticketed too. Because I mean, we contribute. That's what we do. Follow the rules, right?
And I think the mayor answered the questions regard to the homelessness issue in the provincial government and what they're restricting us to do. And this is why we have this challenge with Bowser Island on ministry property. And we are constantly sort of going up against a wall, and it's very challenging, and we have to look after people. It's the options are immense. But thank you very much for your presentation. And we just need to continue to communicate with you and the community.
Thank you.
I wonder how many people in these
Thank
situations
you.
have mental health issues.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I am moved by your compassion and empathy and your story. And it occurred to me, I just wanted to really hear from you again the significance of how the increased enforcement actually led to a better life for you. because I think so many of us are, we're including the bylaw officers are so sensitive to moving and forcing extremely vulnerable people to move when they have nowhere else to go. In fact, I've been down there a couple of times and I bumped into a guy who went to my high school, is now living in his car down there. But
He actually burned his aunt's house down, that man.
yes, that guy.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I know all of them.
Sure you do.
Yeah.
So
Crazy
thank you
that
for
she
your
knows so many
compassion
of them.
towards
That's
them.
amazing.
And
Good for
I
her.
just, so do you feel that we could increase enforcement in such a way that perhaps like have enforcement officers out there at night, like literally knocking on the door at 8 o'clock at night?
Yes,
saying, "Time
exactly.
to
That's what
move."
needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would help,
Don't you agree?
not hurt.
Safe for them.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's safe for them because I wouldn't feel safe doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty strong.
yeah. The ones on Third Avenue near ICBC are a little quite violent, and they're the ones with the big dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, then
I
go
would
in
go
with
in
bigger guns. I mean, it's not
I'm
that
sure you're not
difficult.
going to send just regular officers, I hope.
Right.
Not.
No, I'm just
because-
interested in your point about the fact that the harsher level of enforcement
Sometimes
actually.
I feel like a lot of them have found a loophole. Living in a campground as a younger child, like I said, was not easy, but it gave
think
me
not.
running water, showers, electricity, a safe environment, a community, and the thing I think that was most important is we were paying for something. When it's zero, there's no respect for anything around you.
100%.
We paid something to have those amenities. And I think it brought a sense of respect for my mom and integrity and a little bit of dignity. But had she not been pushed into it a little bit, she would have loved to have stayed beside Beacon Hill Park in Victoria.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's a super important message for all of us to hear.
Agreed.
And I agree, like it's important to feel empathetic, but at the same time, I think most of us, survival is, we find a way. We do find a way to survive. So sometimes if you're pushed in a healthy way,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like the people in the tents to me are on a totally different level. But in an RV, we have skills and we have a mobile home, which means we are able to migrate.
Yeah.
And most of them are movable.
For sure. Thank you. And before I finish, I just wanted to say that I wanted to reassure you that we are, as a council, are actually actively working on this constantly. And there's a number of things in development that we're not at liberty to tell you about at the moment, that, we're working on with others, provincial government included. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to announce some things in the coming months. So it's not like we're not hearing about the problem. We all want to help it for businesses there as well as the people in need. So thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Hanson.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frankie and Leah, for coming. Very important what you're talking about. A certain amount of what you've described as criminal activity. I'm just wondering if you could comment on the presence or absence of police response.
They've been called numerous times. I've witnessed in front of the ICBC. Again, it's the same area of people that I mentioned earlier that are a little bit more sketchy, I guess is the word, or violent. They got into a brawl. There was 5 of them, and there was dogs and an axe. So that's when I saw the axe, I called. But they were all back there.
So this ICBC building they're talking about is this building right here. So I mean, you can see even in this Google Maps thing here, like you got an RV here.
I feel
a RV here. Probably an RV here. For sure, an RV, 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 RV. Did I already count those ones? I think so. Right? RVs along there. And then along here. RV. RV. But like now, if you're not familiar, there, look at all this. Look at all this like RV, 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 RV. Like these vehicles are here all the time. Like these poor ladies are not full of shiitake mushrooms at all. P.S. On my Ground Truth channel, I will be swearing like an absolute trucker. This not swearing bit is killing me. Killing me, I'm telling you.
I'm an 80-year-old woman. Like I'm just a person with blonde hair walking by, exposing yourself. When I called the RCMP to come, obviously, they told me to stand there and wait in the park. They're like, well, where is he? I'm like, fucking park. He's here. Like, you know, go down 14th Street. It's right here. Like, well, can you wait at the entry for me? No. Like, what do you mean? So it's just like, I don't feel that support. And this is, I guess, part of our frustration as well, that I had somebody peering in my window at my business, big glass window, and I can see them clear as day looking in like this. I called the police 3 hours before somebody showed up. It's night. I'm by myself at my business. Like that's not cool.
Amanda's having the same problem. She owns what is it called? Shift Dance Academy. She's got hundreds of girls dancing there. We actually have a photo of a guy chasing. I don't have the photo of him chasing. I have a photo of the guy. He used to dress in a unicorn's outfit. He would chase the girls, and she had the same problem with the police. It took forever for them to get here. She was actually supposed to be here tonight, but unfortunately, she couldn't make it.
So that's Shift Dance Academy all the way
But
over
you're
here,
more than
right?
welcome to reach out to Amanda.
So
She'll
here's
have many
Lloyd
stories for you at Shift
with
Academy.
all the RVs. Remember?
I
Talked
used
about
to
this
have a nail
RV.
salon there and a nail salon right
And there's that
beside
Shift
my
Dance Academy.
auto shop, because Motors and Manicures is super cool. But I had a really hard time hiring women to come, girls to come work for me, because they leave late at night. The salon closes at 9. And it's dark, and how many people would be out walking around. I had one girl that was chased, and I couldn't keep staff. And actually, Amanda couldn't get anyone to cover her shift tonight. I don't know but it's just like, we need support.
Yeah. There's, I have a list as well of all the businesses with children. There's the Van Lena Dance Academy that I think has 400 rotating children that go through there. There's a few daycares. There's the music school. It looks like an industrial area, but there's a lot going on in there. So it just needs a little bit of attention. Honestly, like I feel like we've been forgotten in that area. We've been emailing for a long time. Jordan has been great. He's been coming down to see, and every time I've asked him to come, he's been there. But we do feel a little neglected as far as the District of North Vancouver paying attention to us.
You,
Yeah.
Councillor Hanson, you're complete.
Very much for your responses. It's all very useful. Thank you.
Councillor Ma.
Thank you. It's been a while, but my wife brought her car to your shop way back.
That's cool.
I hope the car's still okay.
It's great. We did sell it for EV. As you know, it took a while, but this council worked to clear some of the RVs from Floyd Avenue. We work with Tennis Center, local businesses to do that. I'll be upfront. We knew there was going to be impact. I live close by, so I go by there quite a bit. Tennis Center, I'm glad you're here tonight to tell us about it, but for the most part, it seemed to work. But the impact has been on businesses, and Councilor Forbes and I have met with some businesses on Pemberton Avenue. There's a mortgage broker on there that we've talked to, and she's mentioned similar stories. But what I'm trying to say to you is, we hear you, and we did some work around the tennis center, and we'll see what we can do for the rest of the area. But it's also not this in this part of the district. At one time, there were 75 identified RVs, I believe, throughout the district.
83.
Right, but
I have map. Yeah.
when it came before council about a year ago, it was about 75. So yes, I'm trying to figure out, other than getting awareness, police and our bylaws to relook at this, what other things do you think might work besides checking on the doors at night? I'm just trying to see if there's any other ideas that you have.
I think timed parking, as much as I don't want timed parking, because it's honestly just means more parking tickets and stuff for us when we don't, get too busy and move. But I would rather deal with that than deal with what we're dealing with.
So this poor lady is saying, like, I'm willing to pay more. I'm going to like take it on the chin to pay more to get these people out of here. How about we show some freaking leadership on this council and grab the bull by the horns and wrestle it to the ground? Like, let's go, people. Make a decision. Make something happen. Be a leader. Like, that's what you guys are elected to do, is lead. You're going to make decisions that people aren't going to like. You're going to hurt people's feelings. That's okay. You're going to make me mad frequently. That's okay too. That's what makes the world go round. Have an opinion. Do something.
That's what you do. If it means you have to take a ferry earlier in the morning and you're on a contract, that's what you do. I mean, I know a wonderful old lady that works at Tim Hortons, and she commutes from Delta every day. I also understand the difference.
I think they should be putting the money back into the community too and paying the expensive rent here that everybody else is. They're making enough money. They can pay it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Back, we're at about a half hour on the item, but Councillor Back.
Mayor Little, I know you're on the police committee, I think, as well as yourself, Councillor Hanson. We do have a new officer in charge at the RCMP, and while this isn't under our purview here at the district, I'm wondering if we might be able to help facilitate a meeting with yourselves and anyone from your group and Superintendent Mainweathering. I also know she's got a lot of experience in this area, so I think it might be beneficial, and if we could try to help facilitate that, it would be good.
Definitely support that connection. And yes, back when Superintendent Mainwaring was Staff Sergeant Mainwaring, that area was the area that she was involved with. So she does know it well and probably knows some of the same players since that time. We can definitely engage our new superintendent on that issue. We share your frustration. Our police share your frustration. I've recently done a ride along with our officers, and it's the number of people that come up in their system, particularly as unwanted mail. At any given time, even though we were constantly going to different places to move people along, there was 9, 10, a dozen that were popping up throughout the course of the evening. And so it's a big challenge for businesses acutely in your neighborhood, but across the district of North Vancouver in general as well.
We have become known as a place where it's easy to live in your.
Isn't this why we need leadership across all levels of government to make illegal activities actually illegal and hold up the law and put people that are breaking the law in jail? Like, I mean, isn't that the whole purpose of the exercise for this whole thing? Like, you have all of these people, like these two beautiful ladies here that are doing everything on the up and up. And in spite of their hard work, they're here begging and pleading. I mean, like, they should not have to work this hard to be able to operate their businesses. Like, it's hard enough. Like, let's get these ladies some help, guys. Come on.
There for you. Then I'm going to move on
Golly.
to item 8, which is reports from council or staff. And the first item under 8 is 8.1 business license for Jasmine Child Care Center at 2504 Swinburne Avenue. And go. Do we have additional comments from staff to start us off, please, Sarah?
Good evening, Your Worship, members of council and the public. Before you this evening is an application to amend the business license for Jasmine's Child Care Center located at 2504 Swinburne Avenue to increase the license capacity from 8 children to 16 children. At a public meeting that was held on December 2nd, 2025, we received
Why are
community
we
input
wasting
on the
council
proposed
time with this?
amendment.
Approve and move
At the
on.
meeting, two members spoke
Holy.
with-
Make
two
sure there's
members of the
enough people
public
working
spoke,
there and
both in
let's
support
get
of the
going.
application,
Good
and 8
Lord.
written submissions were also received, all in support. At that meeting, council also requested clarification regarding the adjacent land beside the property. Staff can confirm that this land is district-owned and is classified as an unopened lane. The applicant has confirmed that a new fence will be constructed entirely within their property line. Based on the review of the application and public input received, staff recommend approval of the business license amendment, and staff are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Hanson, I see your hand up.
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Giving a staff recommendation, second by Councillor Beck. Councillor
Thank
Hanson, your
God.
comments, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Your Worship. I'm pleased to support this business license amendment to allow for expanded capacity at
Oh, we do not need to hear the hot air of every counselor on this. Just approve it and move on, guys. Like, come on.
children instead of 8, as currently, with the additional children being aged 30 months to school age. This will allow the children already at daycare to remain as they age. The need for daycare facilities of this type are well known. I am not aware of any community
It's massive.
opposition to this daycare and this expansion.
Why the hell would there be?
Proponents have earned an excellent reputation.
And look
as
where it is.
daycare providers,
It's
as
right around the
has
corner
been,
from
presented
Blue
to
Ridge
us.
Elementary. Like,
And I'm
why
very
in the
happy to
F
support
would
the
this
amendment.
not be a
Thank you.
good
Councillor
idea?
Beck, your comments.
Good Lord in
Thank you.
heaven. Like,
Myrtle.
why are
Not
we
too
still
much
talking
to
about
add.
this?
The feedback from the families and the neighbors was overwhelmingly positive.
Come on.
So it's clear that the center is providing high quality care that fits within this part of the community. And I like also the fact that the families that are already at that daycare, many of them can stay on as their kids get older. So happy to support the staff recommendation.
Thank you. I don't see any other council members wishing to speak. I'll just add my comments. You know, I was the one who raised some of the issues about the controls, the fencing in and around the neighborhood. I just happen to think that it's important around a daycare facility to have up-to-date management of the fence and the area around it. So that's managed properly. So I'm glad to hear that that's been committed to.
Is that
I'll
not
be
like a
supportive
like?
of
Are you
the
guys not saying
expansion
what I'm
from
saying? Like,
8
this looks
to
like a fence
16.
over here. Like, am I blind?
Anybody else like to address the matter? I'm prepared to call the question.
I mean, I see
All
a
in
fence
favor?
over here too, but I don't know if
Contrary-minded?
that's this property.
Motion is carried.
Good.
Right.
Next.
Moving on to item 8.2, People, Dogs, and Park Strategic Plan,
Oh, this will take a while.
starting with a presentation from staff.
Of course. Oh, not one staff person, but 2. Tax dollars at work here, people.
That's from Ms. Jackson.
Thank you so much. I'm just, as the staff get settled, I just wanted to introduce Mr. McInnes, park designer, along with Mr. Vasilevich with Parks Planning and Mr. Jenkins, manager of parks, and just wanted to just give a brief introduction. So the need for this strategy was first identified in the district's parks and open space strategic plan. And really the purpose of this plan is to provide a high level framework to guide our work in this area over the next 5 to 10 years. Mr. McInnes has a very brief presentation, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. McInnes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. As Caroline mentioned, my name is Graham McInnes. I'm a parks designer with the district. And tonight we are presenting the People, Dogs, and Parks Strategic Plan for your consideration. The need for this work was first identified in the district's Parks and Open Space Strategic Plan, which was approved by Council in 2012. And we began the development of this strategic plan in 2023. Its purpose is to help guide how parks and trails are planned and managed.
Ha!
So
That
they are
looks like
made
my
safe
dog.
and enjoyable and sustainable.
That looks like my dog. Swear to God.
Our approach had three main steps. First,
I don't think it
we
is probably,
reviewed
but
current
still does.
conditions and trends related to dogs and parks. Second, we gathered input to understand community values, priorities, and challenges. Third, we then drafted this strategic plan with clear goals and recommended planning initiatives. As our community continues to grow and become more urban, more people and their dogs are sharing our parks and trails. Through engagement and analysis, we heard a number of recurring themes.
Wait. So you increase the density of the number of people that live on the North Shore, and magically there's more dogs, and then there's more need for people to be out in the parks, but we haven't increased the park space? No. Don't tell me. Can't believe it.
Initiatives to
Good
guide our
Lord.
work over the next 10 years, helping us respond to changing use in parks. And public input was
It's not changing. There's just more of it because there's more people. Like, you know, when people like me get up and say we need to focus on our infrastructure and make sure we have the infrastructure when we're adding more people to the North Shore, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And do you know that most of the people, most of the traffic that's coming to the North Shore on the weekends, they are people commuting from Coquitlam, Burnaby, and Vancouver, and coming to the North Shore to use our parks because they don't have anywhere to go where they live. So, like, shock and surprise. Like,
the People, Dogs, and Parks Strategic Plan is a roadmap to guide our work over the next 10 years. And it includes short and longer term priorities that would proceed through the district's regular budget and policy processes. Thank you very much. And we are happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Thank you very much. Just to put it on the floor, I'll be moving the staff recommendation. Is there a seconder on the matter?
what's the executive summary of the
Councillor Hanson
freaking
first.
proposal?
You seconding the
Like,
motion?
it just says this. Like, what's the
Okay.
executive
Oh, you're not
summary?
seconding the
Give me like the top 5 bullet points here,
Councillor
kids.
Baxter.
Come on.
Okay, there you go. Councillor back, sure. All right. Yeah, just some of my own comments on it. I mean, obviously parks are a big part of our community. It's one of the
It's a 100-page
defining
report,
features
people.
as you come
100
into the district of
pages.
North Vancouver. I
It's
know
actually
we,
more than
we
that.
commented about Dirk Ustindi, one of our previous park managers, a number of times when he came to the district, we had something like 12 parks, and by the time he left, we had something like 80 parks, and many of which were very unique on the West Coast with their themes and features and services. And it also led to us becoming really early pioneers in the mountain biking as we also moved with that same kind of approach to the wild wilderness lands up there. So I'm very glad to see us putting all of this together. I'll be fairly brief on it. I will say that I noted specifically the community consultation piece in the dog portion made a distinction between 5.1, which was about general consultation with the community about parks as having a biennial meeting that you would have an update on parks generally. And then there was another item that was talking with West Vancouver and other groups about general licensing issues. And what I don't want to have lost in that is that we've heard tonight the commercial dog walkers have quite a few questions and concerns about how we're supporting their businesses with access points and other things as well.
Why in the F does anybody want to have fenced in dog walk park things? Like, we want to be able to take our dogs for hikes, dude.
5.2 opportunity for an expressed public meeting, and I encourage you to take put that in the calendar as quickly as you can. But if that's not the intent of the meeting, you want to just talk about licensing specifically, then I would encourage you with your 5.1 meetings to start right out of the gate with something very focused on commercial dog walkers. The commercial dog walker licensing is something I got very involved in when I first came on council in 2005. We set up the regulations for commercial dog walkers in the community, the numbers of dogs that could be walked, how you show that you are a commercial dog walker, and setting out regulations for responsible commercial dog walkers in our community. And it was certainly something that's grown a lot since that time. We've always had the challenge that we're also on the province's doorstep for BC Parks and other lands that are controlled by them, or Metro Vancouver's controlled lands. And so we have some challenges in managing the interaction with those other land managers in the region, where the province on Crown property is fairly hands-off. And so really our regulation stops at when they enter the trail. And so I do want to support appropriate enforcement there to make sure that people understand the regulations. It's frustrating to hear that people might be just using a service. I think I don't want to say the specific service, but using a service to find dog walkers who are unlicensed dog walkers in the community. That's very concerning, but it also sounds like an opportunity for our own enforcement to engage with people who are identifying themselves in that way. And so I'd like to see that addressed. The other question I have about dogs specifically that comes up to my office on a
Okay, is it offside to say that they identify themselves as dog walkers? It's totally offside. I know. I'm sorry. I had to.
With the province of BC, an agreement where they allow us to enforce our bylaws on their school properties. Because as it stands right now, it's their regulations for public property, which are absolutely inadequate, that are in force and effect on school district properties. And so I'd like to see us pursue with the provincial government a way for our bylaws to be enforced on their properties, which I understand you can do by agreement. They just have to allow us to. I'll probably go on to my 2 minutes. Yeah, if I can. So I'd like to see us take that as an initiative to add our enforcements to school properties. People find it absolutely unreasonable that when they take their kid to a neighborhood playground and they have a problem with an aggressive dog, they want to call the DNV animal control. And it's absolutely unsatisfying when our person says, terribly sorry, our bylaws aren't in force and effect on school district properties. They don't understand it. The schools themselves don't understand it. They'll actually tell people, well, you need to call DNV animal control, and because they don't understand that it's actually not in our jurisdiction. And so we need to get the permission from the provincial government to make it our jurisdiction. More broadly on parks, the one thing I would just say we need more consideration for and opportunity for. I have 4 kids. I remember when they were all little and you would have one kid at the park for a sports tournament and then you got to manage the other ones. And we tend to make things too complex sometimes. We should have little micro parks for different age groups in those kinds of spaces so that a family can go watch the soccer game, watch the baseball game, and still be able to have, the high energy kids have a little bit of a space. But I often think when we look at it, we go, oh, it's got to be a fairly fancy park with quite a few different features and others. And I think really what parents are looking for in that is just a safe place that they can keep an eyeball on. They don't have to have the kids be a block and a half away. And so looking for, again, small, simple.
You know what parents on the North Shore want? A pub with a playground nearby. That's what the parents of the North Shore want. Create a pub with a playground nearby. That thing will do well. Promise you.
Trillium Park. That's what it was. It was 4 sections of asbestos concrete pipe, and our pipe fitters produced the swing set and everything else. So we certainly can achieve a higher standard than that, but sometimes the perfect is the enemy of the good. And if we're over engineering those spaces, we actually don't end up with enough of those spaces. So, but I do appreciate the work that went into this and think that it generally represents what I hear in the community about the priorities for our community. And so I'll be happy to support it. Councillor Bax, seconder.
Thank you, Mayor Little. Thank you very much, Mr. McGinnis, for the presentation, and thank you to staff for the work here. This represents over 2 years of work, really, to get to this point with our people, dogs, and
2 years of work?
approximately 1 dog for every 5 residents, highlighting how central dogs are to life in the district. By my calculation, that's roughly 18,000 dogs potentially that exist in the district.
Tacky
And
mushrooms.
Tens of thousands of, a lot of doodles, by the way, I see them. And tens of thousands of daily park
Guilty.
users when you include
Guilty.
dog owners, families, commercial dog walkers, etc. So this is really an important topic for us to be addressing and a conversation for us to be having. Over 4,300 people took part in some aspect of the engagement. I have to think that's one of the highest engagement, some of the highest engagement numbers we've ever seen by any initiative from the district. So kudos to staff on that. And again, just highlights how important the issue is. Lots of agreement. It said 80% agreement with the overall vision and guiding principles of the plan.
I can tell you the most important thing is getting people to pick up after their pets. When my wife and I are out walking, without a question of a shadow of a doubt, I always pick up an extra poop. I just assume maybe somebody forgot a bag or they didn't see their dog sneak off to the side of the trail, whatever the case may be. But I always try to do my poop plus one to do my part to give back to the district and when I'm out walking dogs, because I don't want to have the trails closed to my family and my dogs because other people are too selfish or distracted. Let's go with distracted to clean up after their dogs.
The Belle Isle Park was noted as costing about $100,000. That's not a small amount of money. It's also not a massive amount of money when you look at some of the other capital projects. And so I think given the significant public benefit and the fact that we heard from as much of the community as we did, I think we should be prioritizing these. You have suggested 6 new off-leash areas in the plan, and I would urge us to try and move forward on as many of them as we can, as quickly as we can.
Okay, let's see how big they're suggesting these off-leash areas are going to be. Let's see.
Glad Mayor Little commented on the commercial dog walking program, as we heard tonight from the commercial dog walking business owners. They need to have their voice heard at the table each and every time we're discussing these sorts of issues that directly impact their business. And if we're talking about regular biannual meetings, I would please encourage staff to make sure that the commercial dog walking community is at the table. As we heard tonight, some of these trails that, we've decommissioned some for reasons that I think in some cases do make sense for the majority of time. But when we have alternate trails and they're just clearly not safe for their staff, we have to
dog park
those issues. So
with crushed
that would
gravel,
be my comment on that,
or engineered wood
but I have to
fiber.
say, I agree with really all of the actions.
No,
in the
this
plan,
must not be like what
things
they really meant. This has to.
increasing wayfinding.
This has to be a mistake, right? Like they didn't actually. Who the hell wants to walk their dog on a crushed gravel dog park or engineered wood fiber? Do you know how bad engineered wood fiber or mulch would smell after a year of dogs peeing and pooing on it? This has got to be a mistake. I must be misreading this. Guaranteed. I have to be misreading this. Obviously, I'm wrong. Have to be.
Sign maker of the day, Cameron Stewart, was well known for his work in this area. So it'd be neat to see some of that come back as it relates to this. Other ideas I thought were really good as well. A volunteer-based dog stewardship program. Another great idea if you want to reach people. Just head to Princess Park or many other parks at certain times of day, and you'll be able to reach that community quite easily. I also like the clear measurement and KPIs. I think it's important for any plan to have clear ways of measurement so that we know 3 years, 5 years, 10 years in if the plan is actually successful or not. Just
sorry,
some of
my old
other
age has got me kind of
issues,
blind.
one
Got to
was
look
if
close.
we've engaged with the local business community at all in devising this, or our economic development manager. just around some of the bylaws around dogs and businesses, and some that may want to look at updating. That's again just more of a comment right now. And finally, the issue of off-leash trails is a big one, I think. I live near Hunter Park, and that's a park where dogs are allowed off leash and for the most part. And I know people really value those, and some of them have been decommissioned. So wondering if we are giving some thought to that as well, areas where we can introduce some more off-leash trail opportunities. But overall, I think it's an excellent plan. I do support the short-term actions, and I'm really glad that we've reached this point. So thank you very much to staff for all the work that's gone into putting it together.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Pope.
Thank you very much, and
can't.
thank you for all the work that's gone into the report. I want to start by acknowledging the depth of public engagement that went into this work. The feedback that we heard was consistent and clear. Residents are frustrated by dog waste not being picked up, by a lack of compliance with existing regulations, and by impacts on environmentally sensitive areas. What I struggle with is that these issues are not being caused by the majority of dog owners. Most dog owners are responsible, follow the rules, and value our
I think so.
parks
I'd like to
just as
think
much
so.
as non-dog owners do.
Yeah.
The challenge we are trying to solve is really about a small number of negligent
Of assholes, selfish assholes.
Yesterday, during a break in the rain, I walked up Mosquito Creek, and I love it there because it's full of people walking their dogs.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
I
It's
used
a
to be
great
one of
spot.
them. And
Oh,
as
I'm sorry,
always,
Catherine.
there were plenty of dogs, both on and off leash, and everybody was getting along just fine. And owners were picking up their doggy poop and enjoying the beautiful park, which is the norm there. And I suspect the norm at most other parks. So my concern is that if we're not careful in implementation, we risk creating broader restrictions that disproportionately affect responsible dog owners while failing to meaningfully challenge the behavior of those who already ignore the rules. I do not want to see us reduce off-leash opportunities as a default response when the underlying issue is compliance and enforcement. I appreciate that the strategic plan emphasizes education and targeted enforcement, and that matters, and so does ongoing engagement. I'm also concerned that any changes will impact commercial dog walking businesses, as they are an important service.
Pretty comprehensive, but I do have a couple of questions. In looking at the 8 priority short-term action items, they seem more specific to dog parks. Or are there action items that are pertain more to dogs on trails and off-leash areas?
Yeah, I would say there's a few there that are relevant to trails. we would want to review comprehensively the dog tax and regulation bylaw 5981 and suggest some revisions to that, which includes all parks and trails in the district. And then also taking a comprehensive look at the commercial dog walking program as well, which is relevant to trails. Developing and implementing a targeted communication program could involve temporary signage or permanent signage across the district, as well as more information online, social media campaign to help get the information out there, and identifying key areas and parks to focus enforcement and education. So that could be also district-wide, whether that's a park or a trail.
Just looking at some numbers, 29 action items over 10 years. I appreciate that it's broken up into short-term, medium-term, and long-term. It just seems like 10 years is quite far out there. I mean, we look at our OCP again after, I guess, 10 or so years. I was wondering what the criteria that was used to select the 8 short-term action items.
Sure, yeah. In the first round of engagement,
Right, just to follow up, was cost a big factor when you looked at the selection of the 8 items?
It was a consideration, but I think mostly it was, we tried to gauge the community's or their level of importance for those items. So we asked various questions in the first round of engagement just to clarify or get a better understanding of what topics were most important to residents. So that definitely played a role in determining what should be done first versus later. But I wouldn't say so much the cost.
Okay. Because I do notice a lot of the top items tend also to have a low cost impact.
They're definitely like quick win solutions, some of them, so they could be implemented sooner.
Okay, great. As mentioned earlier, 1 dog for every 5 residents, and it's either 18 or 20,000 dogs in the district. I was curious, how many dog licenses have we issued?
It's a good question. I think I have that number here somewhere. So 2025, there was 5,995 licensed dogs in the district.
So you can see from
Okay.
there's not a lot of licensed dogs out there.
Help me to understand something. Someone asked me this today. Why do we license dogs? And to be honest, I didn't have a good answer. I would say it's in case the dog does something, behavior, and we wanted to know who it was, we can see it. But why do we license dogs?
I would say that's the main reason, so we can connect the owner to the dog and vice versa. That's how you would do that for if you're registering anything. That's the main purpose. Yeah.
So I was just wondering when there's one of the recommendations. Sorry, I don't remember the number, but looking at dog bylaw 5981, it talks about a review and update. Would part of looking at increased compliance with registering dogs be part of that review?
Yeah, we would want to.
Good answer.
Licensing, but I will say we did a review of other municipalities and their licensing numbers, and the district's actually doing quite well in comparison to some others. So there's always room for improvement, but compared to others, we were doing fairly well.
We also do have a program, I believe, in the summer. People go door to door looking.
I mean, I'm all for licensing dogs if people want to or not, but you know what? I mean, we pay property taxes for schools, and there's a lot of people in the district of North Van that are paying property taxes for schools that have no kids going to school. So I don't know that this is the tree that we want to be, and pun intended here, barking up.
If you register today, so I guess that's part of our strategy to encourage registration. Okay.
I mean, do we care if people register or not? I mean,
done good work.
I don't know.
And
Like,
I support the overall plan by the staff. Thank you.
Both of my dogs are licensed and I got the new tags a couple of weeks ago, so I'm good.
Save $14. That's
Me
good.
too, Mike.
I've got Councillor Hanson next, please.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you for your good work on this report. I do support the plan. Also, thank you to members of my council who have commented. My comment is about the licensing fees, and I think one of the reasons we have the licensing fees, in answer to a question that was just made, is for the revenue. I mean, 1 in 5 persons in the district own dogs.
No.
And yet dogs put the district to a significant expense. And much of what I see in this report is that in order to minimize the negative impact on dog owners on others, we need to spend certain money in certain areas of enforcement and elsewhere. I mean, I can say that anecdotally, the areas of complaint that I hear about dogs is dog waste and
Yep.
the environmental impacts.
Totally
of
agree with that.
And also, well, the environmental impacts and also aggressive interactions between unlicensed dogs and people.
That is not, there's probably
you
licensed
discussed
dogs that are jerks too. I
but
mean,
coming
it's
back
not
to
a
the issue of,
fair,
dog
fair way
licensing. So 1 in
to
5
address
people have
that.
dogs, and yet the district bears this cost, and done property, the cost will be rising with respect to dogs in the district. And I would like to ensure that in the bylaw review, that you turn your mind to whether the licensing fees, both commercial dog walkers, but also just the resident licensing fees, are adequate in aggregate to cover what we consider to be the incremental costs imposed.
Again, everybody pays similar property taxes. You know, maybe they're different based on your property's value, but there, if you have a home, if you have 2 homes and both are valued the same amount, you're paying the same taxes, but one home has 20 people living in it, and the other home has 1. Both homes are still paying the same property taxes. So no, like, we need to figure out how to allocate and work with the property taxes that you guys already have coming in. And I would suggest that there should be no additional spending whatsoever. The district is on their way to being broke, especially when they start to realize the lack of funds coming in from DCCs and ACCs, because ain't nobody going in for developments these days.
To ensure that, and I heard the comments with respect to unlicensed commercial dog walkers. Again, that we don't want that. People who are having dogs in the district should be licensed. And I'd like to look at the, I see that a male or female spayed dog is $55, not spayed is $109. A young dog is $55, and aggressive dogs are $130. I'd just like to, in the bylaw review, which I know is discussed in your report, consider whether those amounts are, and same applies to the commercial dog fees, which are larger and perhaps harder to calculate.
If they increase the cost of licensing dogs, people will just stop doing it. If anything, they should decrease the costs.
Having dogs in the district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Hanson. Councillor Murray.
Thank you, Mayor Little. Thank you, staff, for all your work. It's been a long process. I sit on PNIAC for the district, and we've seen this a few times and provided our comments. I have to say I'm a bit disappointed this didn't go to a workshop, because I think this is a lot of information to cover off. I get 6 minutes, and the devil's in the details. On Wednesday, as somebody brought up, I get to, as a member of the Metro Vancouver Parks Committee, sit and talk about Pacific Spirit Park. And a couple of years ago, we began a review of that single park and had the largest public engagement in the history of Metro Vancouver on one park and one set of trails. We had 5,600 completed questionnaires and 722 emails and letters for one park. And over the last several days, I have
See, one of the problems with doing anything via questionnaire or anything like that is you're not getting a random sample size, right? In order to have information that is statistically relevant, you need to have a random sample. And the only way to do that is to go door to door and or pick up the phone and make some phone calls. And even the making phone calls is not so random because now you're relying on people to have a phone. I would say in this day and age, most people have phones. Like, let's be honest. But still, if you're going to be a very, very stringent statistician, you need to have a total random sample size in order for the information being delivered to you to be statistically relevant.
and we are actually on Wednesday, I believe the Parks Committee is going to give district or metro staff direction to relax some of the zones that we've restricted because we want to continue to engage in the community. And, you know, I think the report has a whole bunch of high level ideals in how we think we should approach things. But I will tell you, the people that know those parks are the ones that are in them every single day. And those are the people that we need to communicate with the most.
100%.
I'm not sure that we understand, and I say this with great respect, but I am not sure that we understand necessarily how those parks work on a regular basis. I think
Of course
from
you
our
don't.
experience, we believe that we understand how they work. But
Agreed.
looking at it and actually living it are two different things. And
Thank you.
Goals, I think we're going to run into some challenges. And I think what's going on at Metro Vancouver right now in regards to Pacific Spirit is a big flag that we need to pay attention to. We have a significant amount of staff in that area. All they do is look after parks. The system is broken into areas, as you may know, and they're in there all the time. And still, how it's being recommended from an operational perspective is creating a lot of divisiveness. So I'll take my other 2 minutes, but I just find this very inadequate to talk about what this is really about. You know, there's dog walking companies. I was on council when we created this system, and it has grown exponentially. Licenses. We have. Can you stop?
What happened?
I think hello?
Was there like a power failure? Because I can't see anything. That's weird. That was random.
Hello?
Okay, well, it looks like we had a temporary technological impact and
Hello? Oh. Hello, Houston. Okay, start my time over.
it also looks like the stream did continuously run while we weren't.
So I just, you know, I don't understand what role council's going to play in this. To Councillor Pope's point, what role are we going to play in this? What is the priority? Where is the inventory? Where is the understanding of what's going on in the trail system right now? How many commercial dog walking licenses do we give out? How many do we have in the system that aren't licensed, you know, with those issues that have been brought forward this evening? You know, what is the cost of the existing maintenance on the existing system without adding more inventory of ways to address the needs of dogs? You know, we talk about waste and the waste system and the concerns in regards to that. I had a concern where we're actually removing the cans on the trails. We used to have a volunteer dog bag program. That's kind of disappeared in certain areas. I don't know where that's gone. And then we talk about this idea of enforcement. I know that our rangers in summer are at their brink in dealing with just the numbers of people coming into the system, let alone enforcing the challenges around dogs. And so where is the program to increase enforcement? We've just heard through a delegation tonight that, enforcement sort of started down in Lloyd and Pemberton and off Marine Drive in regards to RVs, and it sort of petered off. So it's an enormous amount of work, and we want to put a vision forward. I'm not sure if dogs and parks in the district needs its own vision statement. I've always been a little bit confused about that. It's a parks vision statement, but I just I don't know how council's going to be involved with these decisions, how you're going to determine where you're putting off-leash parks or contained parks to allow dogs off-leash. How is that going to impact the local park system? What about parking? What about access? All of these things. And then,
Yep.
and I'll quickly end here, Mayor Little, sorry. You can do one walk. In my walk, I traverse multiple properties. I traverse the urban town center. I traverse our property. Then I go into Metro's Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve. Then I go into Limb Canyon, then Headwaters, and then back into the demonstration forest. I still call it that, all in one walk. Where is the communication with all of those partners? And then the provincial government. How have we communicated with the provincial government on this? Because in the Seymour, you can do that all over again. You walk through BC Parks property, back to ours, private property, etc. So this is a lot of work. I don't have a lot of details. I have a vision, but I really would like an opportunity in the future for you to come and so we can have a more robust conversation rather than 6 minutes, because I don't think it does the work justice, and I don't think we really understand the details. And there's devil in details, as the Metro Parks Committee are going to find out on Wednesday.
Councillor.
Thank you.
Councillor Forbes, comments, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. A lot of points I was going to raise have been talked about, but there's about 4 or 5 points that I've been a lifelong dog owner and occasionally a cat owner in there too. So I'm an animal lover. But a number of points that have been raised, I just like to re-emphasize. One of the first things that I hear about is there's not enough off-leash areas for dogs. And I'm talking mainly trails. This report seems to focus, even the title of it, People's Dogs and Parks, it doesn't say trails. So what goes on in the trails, whether it be that people are leaving their waste bags thrown in the bush, whether it's an aggressive dog that's gone after another dog, or whether it's a person that has gotten injured trying to save their dog from another dog. So there's a lot. That's the area that people are really, really concerned, which also brought me to the question in your report where you say that you're going to focus on town centers, these 6 new. I'm a bit confused. I can sort of understand where there's the taller buildings.
What does everybody else think should be like the right thing to have happen to dog owners that own aggressive dogs and allow those dogs to be off leash, knowing full well that their dog is aggressive? Curious to know what people think, how other people feel like that kind of situation should be handled.
Which means, though, that you still have to have the park trails for the larger dogs. The dog waste infuriates me as a dog owner because I'm going around picking up my dog's waste and I get furious when I see bags just thrown everywhere. They're on the sidewalk.
Couldn't agree with you more, Betty.
They're in somebody's yard.
100% agreed.
It's just bad. So I would like to try to figure out if there's something that we can do about the dog waste. But I did notice a comment you made in the report. It says funding for the dog waste. Do you have any recommendation, or what are you thinking of when that's in the report?
Yeah, to your worship, I can speak to that. There is a comment in the report about the current pilot program, and we're just working with the finance team just to see how we can look at securing some more permanent funding for that program. It's really just speaking to how we separate the dog waste from other waste materials in the waste stream.
Okay, so it's not like it's separation after it's been picked up.
Through your worship to Councillor Forbes, well, I don't want to go through the whole process from start to finish, and probably people don't
Okay.
want to hear it, but essentially it's the red bin program, essentially.
I'm just wondering if every park I go in, usually there's free dog bags. Do we still do that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have a question about timing of how long it takes to get these things done. And I appreciate how much work you did. This is a huge report. There's a lot of information in here and you did it really well. But it started being dealt with in 2012 and we're in 2026. And when I look at your timelines for short term is 1 to 3 years, medium 4 to 6 years, and long term is 7 to 10 years. Why does it take so long? It's not like we're building high rises in town centers for the dogs. Why does it take so long to do this?
Well, a lot of the programs that heard council talk about tonight about education and enforcement, those involve a coordinated approach.
Here's an idea. How about we give high school students volunteer hours to go out and pick up dog poop on the trails for the jerks that leave it out there and give people work experience for that? And hey, maybe we even look at some sort of like small wage. I mean, that's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper than, like, they're talking about $500,000. Like, you don't need to pick the poop up every day. Like once a week, once a month even is probably good.
It's $100,000 down there. But then your last sentence in that paragraph says anticipated capital expenditures required, not including land, are estimated at between $600,000 and $900,000 to deliver this action. To me, that sounds like a gold standard, and I'm wondering if that's why we're taking longer to get things done, because we're going for the gold standard rather than maybe going for the copper standard. Is that like 900,000 for?
Bingo.
That would be for 6.
That we wish?
Be for 6 of those dog off
Oh,
leash
that's
hours.
for all 6. Oh, okay, that's a little bit better. Good. The other thing is, we had our emergency vet hospital on Capilano Road close.
Yep.
Are we doing anything to encourage, or have we had anyone approach the district about setting up an emergency hospital again in North Van?
Through your worship, I think that might be best directed to planning.
Okay.
If I see Mr. Dwyer is here.
Were you listening?
Thank you. Yes, listening intently. So that's correct. The operator did depart from that facility. I'm not aware whether there's an interested party going back in there, but we can follow up and report back to council separately on that.
Along with that, could you just tell me though, we used to rent the top floor of that too for dogs that were picked up by rangers and brought in. Where do we take dogs now?
We still have that. My understanding is we still have that.
So we're still renting that top floor even though there's no tenant down below?
That's my understanding. We actually, the weeks before the closure was announced, we were meeting with the person who was running the facility about expanding into some of the space that we have on the 3rd floor. And then all of a sudden, they got notification from the corporation that bought them that they're shutting down. So it was quite out of the blue for everybody involved.
So how long a lease do we have there?
I can't remember. I was there with Janine Ryder, who does our leases. I just can't remember off the top of my head how much time is remaining on the lease that we have. I think it's long, but
I'd be
get that
interested to
information.
find that out if we can find that out.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's going to be needed. So we need to know when it's going to end.
Would be great to have an emergency animal hospital on the North Shore. That's for damn sure.
I'm just going through my points here. I think I've made most of them. Yeah. I did, just based on the statistics we got from the dog walkers, and I was trying to think of how many dog walkers, if they were at their max. But what I did was I multiplied the 40 times the 4 walkers allowed time. Yeah, and I came up with 960 if every dog walker that's licensed.
Why do we care, Betty? What are you getting
What I was
at?
going to make is that's the business side of it, and that doesn't even count just the everyday average pet owner. So there's a lot of use of our trails. And so I really would like to see more emphasis, not emphasis, but I'd like to see something more done about trails and off-leash areas and trails and accidents and things like that on trails, how to report those to whoever. Thank you.
What do you mean
The
by
report was
accident,
very
Betty?
good. Thank you.
Do you mean poop or
Thank you, Councillor
people
Forbes.
hurting
I see no further
themselves?
speakers on the matter. I'm prepared to call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much for your presentation. These 2 items should be relatively quick. Item 8.3, this is bylaws 8762, 8776, 8769, new fire and rescue services bylaw.
So moved.
This item is up for adoption, not for debate. It's been moved by Councillor Murray. Is there a seconder on the matter? Councillor Forbes, prepared to call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Same deal for 8.4. This is up for adoption. It's already been seen by the council. So it's been moved by Councillor Murray, second by Councillor Forbes. I'm prepared to call the question. All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion is carried. All right, that completes the regular business of this evening's meeting. Council, there is an opportunity for reports. Would any members of council like to make a report?
At 9 o'clock, I'm sure everybody just wants to go home.
Councillor
I
Beck?
want to go to bed.
Thank you. Just a very brief report, my little of my attendance last Thursday at the HAVAN, that's the Home Builders Association of Vancouver's.
We sat at the same
Legends of
table.
Housing dinner.
How do you like
They
that?
had a panel there. Ben Tadai, a partner at Conwest Developments, Gary Pooney of the Pooney Group, moderated by Scott Brown from Gandalf Holdings. Just talking about the significant challenges that the industry is facing and will be likely for the next 2 years plus. Just an interesting event. Just kind of learning about what some of the different challenges are. So that's it.
Thank you, Councillor. I will just make a quick report.
It was great that Councillor Beck decided
last
to
week
come
or probably about 10
and be a
days
part
ago,
of that
I was,
and hear from
a part of a
boots on the ground people.
high school. I'd never covered a high school before. We mostly do the elementary schools. But again, it was very good to get out there with our transportation planning staff, police officers, safety people, and obviously representatives from the school district to look at the flow in and around those facilities and spaces. This is something that that we do in partnership with ICBC on a regular basis with our schools. In fact, in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be at Capilano Elementary School and Boundary Elementary School as well. I'll be in your neck of the woods in Pemberton Heights there. Again, the focus is to have a hyper focus on that one particular school and the surrounding curb space and management that goes down there. I've said before, if parents could, they'd drive right down the hallway and drop their kid off at the classroom.
Ain't that the truth?
It's a real big challenge at a lot of our elementary schools where they're quite chaotic at coming and going. And some of them, so Capilano Elementary School, as an example, kids come from all different directions to the school because it's basically the whole block. And so the access points are everywhere with the facility. And so managing it doesn't just mean managing immediately outside the school. It means managing all of the access points and spaces around it and making sure that they're safe enough for our kids. I just want to encourage members of council, if you want to participate in the road safety blitzes, we are happy to connect you up with those to get a particular look at a particular school when they come up. We rotate through pretty much all of the schools every single school year at some point for this, and they have the schedule posted. So if you want to get involved in that, I'm more than happy to connect you up with that. Other than that, I have no more reports. I see no more reports around the table. Accept adjournment. Thank you very much to our staff for preparation for the reports or consideration. Thank you to members of the public for coming out and sticking.
All right. So, I mean, I would say that there's nothing that was atrociously decided or discussed this evening that I have strong feelings one way or the other against. I would say that my number one concern for all municipalities across the entire country, quite honestly, but certainly I live in the district of North Van, and so that's probably where I care the most about. Well, it is. And that is like, we have got to stop spending, right? Like anything that involves spending more money needs to be done with the understanding that if you're going to spend money over here now, you're going to need to stop spending money over there. And so like, I don't think this council really has firmly understood how far down their revenues are going to drop because developers aren't developing because they can't make the numbers work. And without those, like all of the councils across the province have been just hammered drunk, wasted drunk on spending developer money. And the developers were okay to kind of give the municipalities their money because, property values continuously were going up, right? Well, property values aren't going up anymore. I don't know if you've been noticing, but I mean, at best, they're staying flat. So where is this money going to come from? How are they going to pick up the shortfall? That is going to be the interesting thing to stay tuned for and pay attention to over the coming years. That's it for me tonight. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you on the next stream.